Emmy award-winning John Mulaney presents Everybody's in L.A., a special run of 6 live episodes created by and starring Mulaney that'll stream live on Netflix during the Netflix is a Joke Fest. The comically unconventional show will feature special guests where John Mulaney explores the city of Los Angeles during a week when every funny person is in it. Watch John Mulaney Presents Everybody's in L.A., debuting May 3rd live at 7 p.m. Pacific Time, only on Netflix.
You like to watch new stuff, right? Well, go to Hulu and see what's new, because Hulu has new stuff all the time. Like Vanderpump Villa, the new docudrama starring Lisa Vanderpump, where first-class luxury meets world-class drama. A new season of The Kardashians starring The Kardashians, of course. And Grand Cayman, Secrets in Paradise, the sizzling new reality show set in the tropical Caribbean. It's all new and it's streaming now on Hulu.
For exclusive podcasts and more, sign up at patreon.com/partnersincrimemedia.
It's only one O. It's only one O in Missouri. You should think.
But it's the second letter.
Yeah, but M-O is not how you don't spell Missouri M-O.
That's the postal code.
Well, that's Ron.
We'll send them a postcard to complain.
Well, I just think Mississippi has way more I's. Think about it.
It has more S's.
This week's Law & Order Marathon winner is Jacob DeBrock from Oxford, Mississippi. Jacob will get a marathon decal showing he watched 26.2 hours of his favorite crime show. To be next week's winner, sign up at lawandorderpodcast.com.
I'm Kevin Flynn with Rebecca Lavoie and Gaby Dunn, and these are their stories.
You think you know who did it, but you don't know who did it. Law and order, law and order, law and order. It's no ordinary police procedural, baby. It's the FNOG of police procedurals, baby. Law and order, law and order, law and order, law and order. These are their stories, these are their stories.
Welcome to These Are Their Stories, the podcast about network TV's most enduring crime franchise and the real-life cases that inspired their shows. I'm Kevin Flynn. Each podcast will break down an episode from either Criminal Intent, SVU, or Original Recipe. And today we're looking at Special Victims Unit, Season 19, Episode 13, The Undiscovered Country.
I suppose you want to talk to me about ADA Barba.
He is the best ADA that I've ever worked with. He is honest and honorable.
But I can't have my ADAs running around killing people. It's unbecoming.
Joining me to do just that is true crime author and the host of Crime Writers On and Netflix You Can't Make This Up podcasts, Rebecca Lavoie. Hello, Rebecca.
Kevin, I am more excited to be here than Jack McCoy's eyebrows were excited to be in this episode.
Rounding out our panel is our special guest from the Bad with Money podcast, Gaby Dunn. Hi, Gaby.
Hi, thank you for having me. I listened to your show. I just want to get this on record because I said it before. I listened to your show and it's very weird to hear your voices talking to me.
Thumbs up, Gaby. Thumbs up.
It's weird to hear our own voices, too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So I take it you started a podcast, Bad with Money, because you are excellent with money?
Yeah, that's exactly why. No, I was very bad with money and I didn't really have an excuse to get better at it or to learn anything. And primarily, like, bad with money can be something that you are even if you're wealthy or have money, because you might just like not know what you're spending. You might not know a budget. You might not know how to do retirement. It's mostly just like ignorance rather than some sort of like internalized flaw or you're an idiot or something. And so I started from scratch, beyond scratch, in debt, whatever. And then I've been learning over the last 4 years and the audience learns with me. So it's a very accessible podcast if you're scared of finance podcasts.
I am scared how bad of money I will turn out to be if I listen to your podcast and I realize that I totally don't have my act together. I relate to where you started and I think I might still be there.
Rebecca,
so
you need to subscribe
I'm going to check this out immediately.
We got kids in college and we're broadcasting from our basement.
It's
Come
true.
on.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people are like, I love the idea of your show. I'm way too anxious to listen to it. But then eventually they get there. They'll be like, it took me a couple years. I'm like, yeah, no, I know. It's like a thing you have to build up to do.
First, you have to admit you have a problem, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. There's like a whole step before you can start listening to the podcast.
Gaby, of all the franchises, which two cops are your favorite Law and Order detective team?
Favorite Law and Order detective team?
Munch and Finn, obviously. But who doesn't love that? And then, I'm more like a big SVU fan. And so I actually really liked when Olivia was paired with Nick. I know he was supposed to be like a Stabler replacement, but I didn't mind. I liked him. I didn't mind his whole angry dude thing. But yeah, and I always liked when, they don't have, or for a little while, the last few years, they haven't really had like consistent partners. Like they switch a lot. Right. So I always liked when Carisi was with Finn, just for like, and Finn seemed to have had enough of it, and like, or they were both nerds. I liked the episode where they were both gamers, we found out.
Oh, you mean the one where they had to go to the gaming convention?
Yeah.
And Rollins was like, what are we doing here? I love that episode. It's one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah, it's a good one. But I love Munch and Finn just because it's like such a clear crazy person, straight man dynamic that, I don't know, I miss Munch all the time.
And Gaby, who's your favorite prosecutorial team?
Favorite Law and Order District Attorney prosecutorial team?
Oh, Barba. By a mile. Everyone, I don't know. I love Barba. I also, I'm queer, so I have to say Alex. That is lesbian icon Alex Cabot. But yeah, I don't know, Barba. There are a lot of us out there that really fell in love with Barba, and he became like number one for life.
Oh, I know. I
think Olivia felt the same way, right?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Olivia's love life is very elusive to me. It makes little to no sense ever.
All right, now let's take a look at the first half of this episode, SVU Season 19, Episode 13, The Undiscovered Country. We begin with OGDA Jack McCoy giving a eulogy for a character no one has given a shit about since 1994. Ben Stone has died, but his only son, Peter, who flew in from Chicago, declines to speak at the funeral.
Boo.
Cut to Maggie Householder, who comes home to find the babysitter tied up and her critically ill infant snatched by her husband.
It's called mitochondrial DNA depletion syndrome. It's a genetic thing. It causes muscle weakness that rapidly progresses.
So soon Drew won't be able to breathe on his own.
Because Aaron Householder rented a ventilator, they can track him to a seaside condo. Liv says, I'll go in unarmed and talk him out. And Aaron says he kidnapped his son because Maggie wants to let him die. The squad learns baby Drew has a rare genetic disease, and the couple are in a legal battle over his life support. Barba is troubled over whether to prosecute Aaron because he's got his own dead daddy issues to deal with. He visits Maggie at the hospital where the baby has no brain function and is being kept alive by machine. Barba suggests Maggie just switch the ventilator off, but she can't bring herself to do it. Instead, Barbara sends her away so he can do it himself. Okay, so let's start at the top. Sam Waterston gets to do what Dick Wolf has wanted to do for 3 decades, bury Michael Moriarty.
A man shouldn't do what he can, he said. He should do what he must, without regard for consequence or repercussion. That's what makes us moral, Ben added. And God help us if we lose that. So, like that, the world is a sadder place. The noblest of hearts has cracked. Goodbye, Ben Stone.
But the whole scene, all I could think was, oh, this is how we got Peter Stone.
It is.
Right. Yeah. It was not a great introduction. I mean, it was very like that. He was on Chicago Justice. That was canceled. And then they were like, we want to keep the Peter Stone character. So they just hop, skip, jumped him over to SVU. And I don't know. It was very like, I felt very forced to me.
So McCoy gives us in his eulogy that line about do what we must, which sort of guides Barba through the rest of this episode.
Does it?
Well, you could say so.
Can I just say up top that I hate this episode with 1,000 Fire of a Thousand Suns. I hate it so much. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. I can't believe how dumb it is. And I'm sorry to anyone who wrote it or whatever. It was like, I'm sorry to Raul Esparza. I'm sorry to everyone, but it is the stupidest exit and the stupidest episode. And it was so out of character for Barba. I don't even understand what I watched the first time I watched it.
Amen.
So let's cut to the crime here that's sort of driving this along.
Sandy?
Mom leaves her 11-month-old respirator-requiring baby with the 14-year-old girl from next door.
To go buy a dress.
Wait a minute. Wouldn't you have like a visiting nurse? You wouldn't just have Susie Pigtails come in and...
I mean, all I could think of, and this is dark, and I apologize, but again, this is a fictional baby we're talking about, right? On a fictional ventilator.
Yeah.
Easiest babysitting gig ever.
Well, you don't know that. She might come, Gabby, she might come home and say to Mom, well, you know, I put him down and then I had to intubate him.
Yeah, I mean, you would know. You need like a trained nurse or something. Also, if I was the babysitter, I'd be in there constantly being like, is he breathing? Is he breathing? Is he breathing?
Oh,
like, I would be so scared.
That's $15 an hour you earn.
Yeah, if you're watching your friend's dog and the dog dies on your watch, you know what I mean? That's like, that's the same, times 1,000. You'd be like, oh, this baby better not kick it while I'm here.
I thought when you said we're going to talk about the real crime in this episode, I thought it was going to be something different.
The real crime?
This is the season I refer to as Olivia Benson's Bitmoji hair season.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
Where she legit looks like she has, Kevin, you know what a Bitmoji is?
I do. I have
it's
a
that
Bitmoji.
like avatar you make of yourself on your phone. She legit has one of those like Wee Me / Apple Bitmoji hairstyles this whole season. And I cannot see past it. And I know that's shallow. But that's just where I'm at with this show at this point in my life.
That's the Benson hair that you have a problem with? That
one
particular one? Yeah, exactly. There's been a few.
So Liv does that whole thing where she's going to go, I'm going in the hostage situation. Everyone's like, no, don't do it. And she's all like, look, I'm taking my leather gloves off. I'm serious. And she gets there.
Can I see Drew?
He's sleeping.
I just want to check and see if he's okay. Right? Nice and easy.
And it's essentially this empty seaside condo with just a crib, a ventilator, and a card table and 2 chairs. I want to ask, why does this guy have 2 chairs? Was he expecting someone?
They came as a pair. You had to get 2 at the Home Depot.
Was this like an Airbnb? Like completely unfurnished except for torture furniture?
I mean, who knows? Like, was he planning this the whole time? He had the condo ready. Did he break in and take over a condo? Like, what is his plan? And then is his plan to just like live out the rest of his life in this condo with his baby on a ventilator? Like, where do we go from here?
Hey, he had to contact Con Edison to turn the electricity on.
Yeah.
That ventilator needs...
That's true.
It needs some air.
Needs some serious power, right?
Yeah. Also, I love, again, Liv being like, you know what? By the way, Dodds died from going into a hostage situation.
True.
Like 5 minutes ago. And we're like, you know what? Let's let her do this again. The retconning of their brains after one thing happens. It's like 50 first dates every fucking episode. Sorry, am I allowed to curse?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Let it fly.
It's like every time. I'm like, I can't believe she's going into a hostage situation when Dodds just got shot in a hostage situation.
And the guy kind of like happens to walk by the picture window and there's this SWAT guy. He's like, I got a shot.
Okay, no, guns down. That's an order.
He says, no, don't shoot.
Yeah.
Why would you shoot just on your own?
My God.
I'm here to kill him, right? That's no.
It's the default position in Sheepshead Bay, apparently.
I can't.
No one gets out of here alive.
Yeah.
So while they're all wringing their hands over whether to charge Aaron with kidnapping his dying child, they're like, oh, what's the legal system going to do? Remember, he tied up the babysitter at gunpoint and stuffed her in a closet.
Paintball gunpoint.
Paintball.
Still tied her up like a freaking turkey and threw her in the...
She was terrified.
That's fine,
She'll
though.
never be the same.
She'll never be the same.
Yeah, so are they gonna charge him with kidnapping? Like, not just the baby, but I guess he didn't take her to a second location. What do you get charged with if you just tie someone up at gunpoint and leave them?
A crime.
Isn't it called something like unlawful arrest?
Yeah.
Unlawful imprisonment.
Yes, unlawful imprisonment.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yes.
Criminal mischief. There's a million things they could charge him with.
Assault.
We don't care about the babysitter. We don't care about her at all anymore. No follow-up.
Yeah, everybody kind of overlooked that. Poor babysitter.
Yeah.
She so earned that $15 an hour.
She totally did. Still one of the easiest babysitting gigs.
The baby didn't die, and she got held up at
Yet. The baby didn't die yet.
Didn't die.
Yes.
All right, let's take a look at our cast.
It's our very special guest star,
Mr. Samuel Atkins Waterston.
Atkins?
You love to see it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, it's Atkinson. Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Samuel Atkinson Waterston.
Atkinson.
Yeah. He's best known as the father of James Waterston, who starred in Dead Poets Society.
Oh, stop it. He's best known as that.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
Got a deal. Offer him probation. Go to church. Say 3 Hail Marys. Then come back here and finish off that bottle.
He's had, let's see, 384 Law & Order Universe appearances.
Yep, sounds about right.
4 on SVU. So, Sam Waterston, his father was a diplomat. His mother was a Mayflower descendant. He went to Yale and the Sorbonne. He has distant cousins with George Bush and Franklin D. Roosevelt. So, you know, an everyday Joe.
He looks regal.
He does look regal.
Yeah.
There's something waspy about him.
He looks like the uncle who would offer to pay for your books for your college when he could actually just pay for the whole thing and it would be nothing.
That makes sense. Yes, totally. He's like he's just an iconic looking person. So when you open on him and you see him, you're just like, you feel intimidated, but also like you want him to approve of you and you want to get close to him. He's just very like severe looking, but then if you get past it, he seems like he would be so lovely and nice.
Yeah, like the kind of nice where even if you were arrested and being tried for murder, he'd let you keep coming to work and hold your office for you. Like that
Truly.
kind of
Yeah, super.
Truly.
Look, I was tickled to see McCoy again, but we did not get the patented Jack McCoy head quivering indignation that we have come to know.
Closest we got was when like Peter refused to eat half of his hot dog or whatever it was, right?
Right.
He
Yeah.
was like very upset about that. You're going to sit here. You will eat these nitrites, right?
Yeah.
So we have hey, it's that guy.
Hey, it's that guy.
Who is playing Peter Stone?
Oh.
Do we know him? Who's that guy?
It's the guy who plays Peter Stone.
Name him.
I don't know.
Oh, wow. Wait, I just forgot his name, even though I know I watched seasons of him or a season of him. Ben? No,
that's Philip Winchester.
Oh, that's
Philip
right.
Winchester.
If we as a society ignore it, we are saying that murder is no longer absolutely wrong. Condoning it in one case would allow us to condone it in any case, and that would be capricious.
So he played Sergeant Stonebridge on the Showtime action series Strike Back. He originated Peter Stone on Chicago Justice for half a season, killed that show, then stuck around for 35 more cringeworthy episodes as this character.
Yeah.
Look, how much of our disdain for Stone was simply the fact that he replaced Barba, like Amaro replaced Stabler?
Can I answer this
first? All right,
first?
you first.
Okay, for the first 5 minutes, it was 100% that. And for the rest 35 hours, it was that his character fucking sucked.
Yeah.
Every episode, you didn't know who you were going to get. It was like, indignant guy who's taking care of his, mentally ill sister. Or it was sleazy guy who goes to strip clubs. Or it was father figure to Noah. Or, it was never the same. It was never consistent. It was totally retconning of Ben Stone, retconning of everything, and retconning of himself every single episode. He just sucked. Plus, terrible actor.
Gabby, your thoughts?
He sucked. No, he's very handsome, I guess. In like a way that I don't care for. And like, I think a lot of it was that we missed Barba, but Barba, it highlighted how much of a complex and rich and like well done character Barba was, and how much Raul Esparza like brought to the role, to then see someone after him who you were like, oh no, it's not the ADAs. It's the particular performance of this person and the like rich writing of Barba, who I think was created by Warren Leight.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Was he the...
Yeah.
So like it did... So then to have this person come in who was like so white bread and so like not... I think we would have... If they had brought in someone different, I don't think we would have hated them as much. I don't know. Like we would have gotten over the Barba leaving, I think, at some point. But because he wasn't as like complex and rich and like as fun of a character, we just didn't care.
All right, let's take a look at our Hey, It's That Girl.
Hey, it's that girl.
Who is playing discount Reese Witherspoon Maggie Householder?
Yeah.
No idea.
The name of the actress? No?
Don't know.
His doctors say that he has no brain activity. He is a lump of flesh. My beautiful lump of flesh. He should get the peace that we all deserve.
Yeah, that's Abigail Hawke. She played Detective Baker on Blue Bloods for 10 seasons. The last time she was on SVU, she played paramedic number 2.
Good for her.
So I guess that fixed everything in Hollywood, right?
She was good in this episode. I mean, she was probably the only good thing about this episode. Let's be real.
I love that that she was on a show for 10 seasons, that went on for 10 seasons. And I was like, that was a show. And also this person was on it.
That's what happens with our Blue Bloods guest stars.
Is it a CBS show?
It is on CBS.
Every single time, I'm like, I've never heard of that show. I don't know anybody who watches it. It's always a CBS show.
I don't even think you know the CBS channel here. What's the number?
804.
Okay, good enough. Yeah. Okay, so McCoy and Stone give us some fan service. Stone catches McCoy having lunch on a courthouse bench, and he says,
I was just coming to say hi.
My first wife made me promise to never eat at my desk. I thought it was good advice.
And I'm like, bitch, did you forget 16 seasons of pizza and Chinese food boxes?
You and Claire Kincaid ate at your desk all the damn time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Every fucking thing. Thai, Chinese, sushi, big pizza, dish pizza.
Well, he says my first wife said, and I was like, all right, what a flex. Cool flex.
All right, so Barba goes to intensive care to meet, as Maggie put it, her little lump of flesh. And we have heard that Barba had the chance to ease his dying father's suffering, and he didn't. So he tries to comfort her.
Why? Why can't he just die? Why?
He can.
So she won't push the button. He kicks her out, blesses the baby like he's the fucking bishop.
Yeah.
And then everything fades to black.
This is also a retconning of the backstory of Barba's father, where he says 7 years ago or something, dad, blah, blah, blah. Then in another episode, he said his dad died like 15 years ago or something. His dad had a totally different backstory.
But that's this whole like Peter Stone seasons. Like it's like the writers were like all like left.
Yeah.
And they brought in a bunch of like college students who were just like writing fan fiction about Law and Order to write SVU.
No,
like,
the people who write fan fiction know more about the show than the writers do. The people who write fan fiction are the ones who are like, Barba's father actually blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, don't you guys have like Bibles about each character where you can like see, you know, like at least remember like what they've done or their families or anything? Like that's how do I remember things about your own show better than you do?
It took 20 seasons for us to learn that Ice-T's mother got killed in a drive-by shooting. And that he grew up with a famous rapper.
I can't.
I have a really important question.
I doubt it, but go ahead.
Do they not have at NBC or Dick Wolf's disposal a medical consultant who can point out that a life-sustaining ventilator in a patient's room does not simply have a toggle switch that anybody could reach over and click, boom. It's just not how it works.
Yeah. Now, fortunately, what we have is a plastic baby with a CPAP mask on.
Pretty much.
In a plastic case.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gabby, that's intensive care. And it just looks like it's backroom care.
And you can just play your own music, apparently, for everyone to hear.
Yeah.
Also, like, wouldn't it start beeping right away when you
That was the intensive part, I thought.
Yeah, and the nurses will like be there and be like, "What's happening?" You know, like what? I don't know. I've seen Grey's Anatomy. Like, doesn't stuff start like beeping and being like code blue, code black, or whatever when things turn off or go wrong? Look, I did not go to medical school to not be an expert.
I think that's why they faded to black, because they didn't want to have the scene where all the people come in. They're like, what happened? Barba's like, I don't know.
Emmy award-winning John Mulaney presents Everybody's in L.A., a special run of 6 live episodes created by and starring Mulaney that'll stream live on Netflix during the Netflix is a Joke Fest. The comically unconventional show will feature special guests where John Mulaney explores the city of Los Angeles during a week when every funny person is in it. Watch John Mulaney Presents Everybody's in L.A., debuting May 3rd live at 7 p.m. Pacific Time, only on Netflix.
You like to watch new stuff, right? Well, go to Hulu and see what's new, because Hulu has new stuff all the time. Like Vanderpump Villa, the new docudrama starring Lisa Vanderpump, where first-class luxury meets world-class drama. A new season of The Kardashians starring The Kardashians, of course. And Grand Cayman, Secrets in Paradise, the sizzling new reality show set in the tropical Caribbean. It's all new and it's streaming now on Hulu.
Now let's look at the second half of this episode. Barba, who just killed a baby, shows up at work the next day, and Liv is pissed.
Rafa, what the hell?
Latte, right?
I don't want coffee. You killed the baby?
I expedited his passing.
That's gonna be a tough hair to split in a courtroom.
Courtroom's the last thing I was thinking of when I was in that hospital room.
You could go to prison.
You don't think I know that? Sometimes you have to act without concern for the consequences.
Not you. You wear suspenders and a belt.
I had no option.
I gotta fix this.
Liv.
McCoy says he's appointing Peter Stone to prosecute Barba's second-degree murder case, and Liv is pissed. Meantime, Barba has hired the sleaziest lawyer he's ever seen. Stone grills Maggie on the stand saying, hey, you had your chance to get an abortion, no take-backsies. Barba's defense is that he hastened the baby's death because, the sweet pain of life his condition will never let him experience. The jury acquits Barba, but he resigns his post and leaves the show. Okay, the title of this episode is The Undiscovered Country. It comes from Hamlet's soliloquy in which, contemplating death, he says, the undiscovered country from whose bourne no traveler returns puzzles the will, which confirms my suspicion that SVU is written by high school juniors.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, so this second half is patently absurd. It is the most insane, stupidest thing I have. Okay, so hold on. So a major ADA is on trial for murder.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no press there. Nobody's swarming him. He just goes back to work. Also, he hires a lawyer that we don't know or care about when he's good friends with Rita Calhoun, and he's had other lawyers that he's very good friends with that he would maybe want to hire. Also, maybe those people would want to show up to the trial because they're friends with him. Also, where the hell are Rollins and Carisi and Finn, who have also known this person for 6 years? Also, he's not... His trial just happens immediately.
Like all trials.
Yeah.
Like all trials. Also, they acquit him within like 5 seconds, which they don't even like have jury deliberations. Like I watch a lot of true crime, and like it takes forever to get a trial. It takes forever for the jury to like, come up with an answer, and for everyone to show the exhibits and make their, opening and closing statements. Like the fact that they made all of this happen within 15 minutes is truly bananas.
Yeah. How fast is this trial going? Because Stone and Barba are still in their suits from that funeral.
Yeah, it's like fully nuts. And then like he gets acquitted, and then they just are like, okay. And it's not like, this is in the news. This is like a huge thing.
Nope. No.
Pretty low key.
Let me tell you something. The only thing that would have made this maybe okay is if it was like a family that Barba had known for years. If it was like
that guy who ran for mayor,
like the guy who ran for mayor, like if it was like a friend of Barba's that he had known for years and this was their baby or something to make me think that Barba would maybe do this. Barba would never do this. Also, this is not the way that like a trial would ever go. And also, like, why wasn't anyone there to support him other than Liv? And also, second degree murder is a huge fucking deal.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
This episode makes no sense.
Yeah, the law part of this is kind of crazy. McCoy introduces Liv to Stone, who's going to prosecute her friend, and he holds out his hand, and she doesn't take it, and she says,
I sure hope you suck.
Well, you got your wish because he really sucks.
He sucks hard. He doesn't even try, eh?
What a way to introduce us to this character, too. They didn't even give him a shot. Like, they weren't like, fans, like, he's a good, you're going to like him, blah, blah, blah. They were like, fans, he's going to prosecute your literal favorite. Hope you like him.
But he played baseball.
He did not have a shot in hell because we were all just like, he's going to come in and stab the person that you love. But I hope you like him. What?
Well, there's also like a lot of anvil dropping where Olivia like tells us she's not going to like Peter Stone ever in this episode by saying to Jack McCoy about Barba that he's my favorite ADA I ever worked with, right?
Which, wow, fuck Alex Cabot then, huh?
And Casey, fuck them all.
I guess so. Fuck Casey Novak.
So it's only after his trial where he's still likely to be disbarred that he starts emptying out his office?
Yeah.
And then Jack's like, you don't have to quit. Yeah, he does.
You do realize half my job is stopping people who work here from doing something stupid.
Well, now you have one less person to worry about.
You don't have to do this, Raphael.
I know.
What are you going to do?
Would it be unbearably corny if I said I'm going to do what I must?
Yes, it would. But I understand.
Like he said, it's unbecoming to kill a baby. By the way, if Carmichael or Kincaid had smothered a baby, McCoy would have blown his fucking top off.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Who gives you?
Serena Sutherland had feelings and got fired.
That's
Truly.
Of course, that was because she was a lesbian, but we digress.
Is this because I'm a lesbian?
Yeah, right.
God, it would have been so great if he was like fired after all of this, and then Barbara was like, "Is it because I'm bisexual?" What a cool callback that would have
been. It would be funny, but of course they would have said, "No, it's because you killed a baby."
Yeah. Oh my God, it's just so stupid. Also, like, you don't think like Rollins, who has kids, and like Carisi, who's diehard Catholic, would have had thoughts or something to say about this entire thing going on with their friend of like 6 years? It's just like so weird.
Well, you brought up sort of our favorite exit, Serena Sutherland.
Yep.
And this is actually relevant because I heard an interview with Serena Sutherland talking about that.
It's not her real name.
No,
anyway.
it's right, the actress Elizabeth Rome. And she said that Dick Wolf came to her and said, okay, your contract's done, you're going to be leaving. Do you want to go out with a bang or a whimper? And she said, let's go out with a bang. And I'm assuming that's what happened here with Raul Esparza. His contract was up on the 13th episode of this season. This particular season. He decided he wanted to do something else. And Dick Wolf probably said, do you want to just walk off or do you want a big exit like Cabot had?
And then he was like, yes, I want a big exit. And then when they showed him the script, he was like, not like that. I take it back.
Is it too late to scratch this out? But I will say the writers do give Barba a wonderful farewell speech to Olivia.
You know, when we first started working together, what was it, 5 years ago?
6.
The world was an old movie. It was all black and white, and it was high noon. I was Gary Cooper. I was absolutely sure, absolutely, who were the good guys, who were the bad guys. And then you started to weasel your way into my world, and the black and white became different shades of gray. Before I knew it, there were blues and greens and yellows and reds. I'm you now, Liv. You opened my heart, and I thank you for it.
Look, the law part of this episode is bananas, but I honestly think with so many dramatic speeches and performance, I think this is one of the best SVU episodes ever.
No. You're bananas. You're wrong.
I'm wrong? No, I'm not
We
wrong.
were watching it and you said that to me and I burst out laughing because I thought you were making a hardcore joke. You're wrong. There's nothing good about this episode except every time Raul Esparza is on the screen.
No, it's bad. The speech at the end is, once again, look, I get that Olivia is the heart of the show, but like, once again, it's not about him. He's giving this speech saying goodbye, and he's just like patting Olivia on the back and being like, you're the best. Thanks for doing this for me. Now I'm disbarred. But at least I have a moral gray area now. Okay, bye. Like, it is so, he doesn't say word one about like himself without a connection to her, which is like written by a narcissist, I think. It just doesn't make any sense with Barba's character at all. He cares about appearances. He cares about how his status. I mean, he worked his way up from the Bronx, from like a bad, his bad neighborhood. He like made it out to become very successful. And like, that's a thing that his family, cares about. And he's like seen as this success story. And he worked so hard for that. And like, we know that about the character, that he like suffered a lot of racism at Harvard and all this shit. And then he just walks away from it and he's happy about that. He's like, I'm a better person. And he like smiles and walks away. What are you talking about, dude? There's so much more going on for you. This is so weird.
There's another very, very weird and out of place moment with the whole SVU universe that happens like near the end of this episode when Olivia confronts Peter on the courthouse steps and says to him,
You don't have kids, do you?
You don't have kids, do you? Like as if that would change the fact that he was told to prosecute this case, right?
Right,
But
exactly.
also, the reason that stuck out to me was because Elliot said that to her
a million fucking times,
fucking times, and it was sexist and she hated it, and she was always so resentful when she didn't have a kid of anybody that would say to her like, you wouldn't understand, you don't have kids. To have those lines come out of her mouth, to me, was one of the most egregious things about this episode, and a long list of egregious things. So Kevin, tell us more about why you loved it so much.
Look, I thought the individual performances were very good. I think it was one of the more dramatic, and I found it a more satisfying way of bidding adieu to a character up there with Claire Kincaid's sudden car accident death in Original Recipe Law and Order. I thought it made more sense than faking your death, like Cabot with all the squibs and everything.
Oh my God!
But I thought there were a lot of emotional speeches, more so than you usually get on SVU. Yes, the trial crime line was fucking nuts.
Yeah,
but I thought the individual performances and giving Barba a really A+ send-off, I think made it really good.
You know what I think the best part of the episode was?
What?
When he goes to meet with his sleazy defense lawyer and tells him, they're talking about having killed the baby, and the lawyer goes,
What did the little bastard do to you?
This is a mistake.
Okay. I'll skip the whole self-defense angle.
I'm not going to go with the self-defense. We very recently had a via Skype cameo by Raul, who reprised Barba for 60 seconds. He's got a beard. He's into election fraud. So things are good with him. Hey, I want to say that when this episode came out, Twitter exploded.
Yeah.
People were, I thought, inconsolable. And I made the mistake. I'm trying to be comforting. And I was like, guys, just remember, he didn't really die. He's a real character. He's a real person. He's fine. And people looked at me like I said he was a Nazi.
Yeah.
And I got such slap back. I was like, ooh, sorry, I misjudged
Sorry,
that.
I dissed your fictional favorite fictional DA, guys.
People were upset none of the fan fiction was going to happen.
Yeah.
There was a big group of people who wanted Barisi.
And nobody was more upset than me, Gaby Dunn. I was like very, very mad about the lack of Barisi.
Emmy award-winning John Mulaney presents Everybody's in L.A., a special run of 6 live episodes created by and starring Mulaney that'll stream live on Netflix during the Netflix is a Joke Fest. The comically unconventional show will feature special guests where John Mulaney explores the city of Los Angeles during a week when every funny person is in it. Watch John Mulaney Presents Everybody's in L.A., debuting May 3rd live at 7 p.m. Pacific Time, only on Netflix.
You like to watch new stuff, right? Well, go to Hulu and see what's new, because Hulu has new stuff all the time. Like Vanderpump Villa, the new docudrama starring Lisa Vanderpump, where first-class luxury meets world-class drama. A new season of The Kardashians starring The Kardashians, of course. And Grand Cayman, Secrets in Paradise, the sizzling new reality show set in the tropical Caribbean. It's all new and it's streaming now on Hulu.
All right, let's take a look at the real-life story that inspired this episode. It's time for Ripped from the Headlines.
You think you know who did it. You think you know who did it. But you don't know who did it. You don't know who did it. Ripped from the Headlines.
This episode is inspired by the 2017 case of baby Charlie Gard. The London infant was born with a rare genetic disease that is fatal to infants. The 2-month-old child was taken to hospital where physicians discussed end-of-life care with Charlie's parents. A New York neurologist said he had an experimental treatment, but British doctors advised there was no hope for recovering. The Gards wanted to try the American researcher's treatment and began raising money to transfer the baby to New York. Charlie's medical team in London believed the experiments would only prolong his suffering, and when it seemed the parents would bring their son to the US anyway, the hospital petitioned to the High Court of Justice to stop them. The court sided with the hospital, saying further treatment was not in the best interest of the terminally ill baby. Charlie's parents appealed. Publicity around this right-to-die case spread worldwide, with celebrities, politicians, and religious leaders weighing in. During the appeals process, the New York researcher travelled to London for the first time to examine Charlie. He determined it was too late for his treatment to work. The Guards agreed to remove Charlie from life support, and the 11-month-old boy died minutes later.
Who should make the determination of end-of-life support for an infant? The parents, or the doctors, or the government? Rebecca, what do you think?
I think it definitely depends on the situation, Kevin. I don't think that's a blanket question with a blanket answer. But I do think that probably the heaviest voice that should be weighed are the end-of-life palliative care experts that have spent their entire careers trying to understand what's terminal, what's not.
Do you have a child, Rebecca?
Do you even have kids?
Gabby, there are those people who will just say, it's the parents' right and duty to make that decision and nobody else's. What do you think?
Oh, I think a random ADA that you've met once should be the person to make that decision for you. I think they should choose an ADA out of a hat, and then that's who gets to decide.
Amen.
I kind of think the parents part of me, I mean, but then I think it's like very easy to abuse that, where parents might be told, oh, there actually is hope, but the parents are like, you know what? Let's start over. I don't really want this kid. So, like,
yeah,
I can see where it might get, I'm inclined to say the parents, but then it's hard because they might not make the right decisions either because of emotions or because of, like, this sort of ableist idea of, like, I don't want to have to take care of a child that isn't, like, typical, you know?
But then the parents thing also gets such the slippery slope of things like anti-vaxxerism, and also into the slippery slope of those religious cults who don't believe in any medical treatment at all for anything because it's up to the parents. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah, the child has civil rights even if it's an infant and can't make its own decision. Look, is there wisdom in offering hope to parents for an experimental treatment for an incurable disease?
What do you mean is there wisdom in it?
Well, this is what medical ethicists talked about after this. They said there was no hope.
Yeah.
of recovery, and that this was not the thing a medical professional should have done. Inserted himself in this case with a very random hope of something not tested.
Yeah.
And then it prolonged the child's suffering.
Yeah. That sounds right. I mean, this is different than saying, like, say you're a pediatrician in the United States and you see an outbreak of some very curable thing happening in a country without a lot of health care. It's very different than saying, like, hey, like, fly me over there, get me some resources. We can help with this.
We have a vaccine for measles.
That is different than saying, if only you were here, I could try this long shot thing on you. Because there's also like the whole, you have to weigh the fact that these parents are probably desperate, right? And that they have this like very emotionally invested and not letting go. It just seems kind of a crappy thing to do.
Yeah, and Gabby, the AMA says that no one can demand non-beneficial treatment simply because they're paying for it out of pocket.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, the argument for me was like that the baby was in pain. Because sometimes you can't know. A lot of times with people in vegetative states, it's like hard to, they grapple with. It's hard to know how much pain they're in or how much they're aware of or if they're in pain. And so like, then it's that sort of right to die kind of stuff that comes into with like people with terminal cancer or people, I don't know, because I don't want to like get into a precedent of like, well, if your baby's, disabled in any way, chuck them out. Like, but I also know that like I think the problem is that doctors will say, oh, it's incurable. And parents will go, well, I know more than you. And what if in 2 years there's a cure? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's like this thing of like, we'll keep them alive, like frozen in time until maybe someone will come up with something.
Yep.
And like usually that they won't come up with something.
Now, in favor of letting them at least try the experimental treatment were strange bedfellows Donald Trump and Pope Francis.
I remember that.
And one of them did so by tweet. Pope Francis tweeted out his thoughts and prayers for the family. That's true.
Perfect.
Hashtag blessed.
Perfect.
Oh, wait. The Pope's meme game is really strong. He has that girl who says Ermagerd.
Yeah.
Burbos.
No. Does he? Are you lying?
Totally lying. That is going to do it for us. We want to thank Gaby Dunn for joining us. Gabby, how can our listeners follow you online?
Sure. I'm at Gabby Road on Instagram and at Gaby Dunn on Twitter. And then the Bad with Money podcast is anywhere you can find your podcasts. Sorry, I just came here to scream about hating this episode.
I loved it.
Rebecca Lavoie, how can our listeners follow you?
They can find me at I Miss Barba. Just kidding. It's at Reb Lavoie on Twitter and Instagram.
And the Pope is at Pontifex. And you can track me on Twitter at Kevin P. Flynn. You also can tweet to us at Law & Order Pod or follow us on Instagram at These Are Their Stories Podcast. Our newsreader was Cy Frater. Our theme music was composed and performed by Uncanny Valleys. Line editing by Henry Lavoie. Content assistance from Travis Roy. Lily Flynn handles promotions. To get ad-free episodes of These Are the Stories a week early, sign up for Stitcher Premium. Get your first month free at StitcherPremium.com/crime. All clips in this podcast were used in compliance with the U.S. Copyrights Act Fair Use Exemption for criticism and commentary. Special thanks to the elite squad of the Law & Order Wiki community for preserving the evidence. If you want to know what episodes we're talking about in our upcoming shows, go to lawandorderpodcast.com. Sign up for our newsletter for a chance to be our next Law & Order Marathon winner. These Are Their Stories was recorded in the Yoga Loft above the Bodega in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi studio and is a production of Partners in Crime Media.
Partners in Crime Media. Emmy award-winning John Mulaney presents Everybody's in L.A., a special run of 6 live episodes created by and starring Mulaney that'll stream live on Netflix during the Netflix is a Joke Fest. The comically unconventional show will feature special guests where John Mulaney explores the city of Los Angeles during a week when every funny person is in it. Watch John Mulaney Presents Everybody's in L.A., debuting May 3rd live at 7 p.m. Pacific Time, only on Netflix.
I was shocked, They were always such a good team, so successful. But to do something like that? To exceed their budget?
While being over budget might not be a crime, it can disrupt workflows. With Monday.com, you and the team can be sure that you're all in sync. All the data, latest updates, files, and budgets are visible to everyone, so you won't miss a thing. Tap the banner to go to Monday.com.